how hard it is to find the right person, and how it all starts from a great job description. So without further ado, please, please, Chris, go ahead. Yeah.
Hi guys. Um, this is going to hopefully only take about 20-25 minutes. I just need to get my screen shared.
And any questions, by the way, that you have, please put them in the chat, and later on we will address them when Chris is all done. Thank you. I will mute myself too. We could see it.
Okay. All right. Strategy for success. So this is going to be do's and don'ts for job postings. Probably one of the harder things to do because you want to put so much information into your job posting, but we're going to talk about how to make it a little more streamlined, a little bit more utilitarian so that you can do this moving forward. How do you attract new and qualified employees? There's multiple ways of doing it. You have networking events like this one, Coffees and Conversation, and Member Connect, GTRCC on tap, where you're talking to people and they say, oh yeah, I got a guy that I know would work great for you. That's one way. Then you have the websites, Indeed, LinkedIn, ZipRecruiter. Depending on them, some are really good, some not so good, but there's another way of getting your next qualified candidate. Then you have your job fairs or recruitment events. We've all done these a million times. We've gone to so many, and sometimes you get a great one, sometimes you don't. And in some of the recruitment events you can do on your own, we have them at our office for you, so you can have somebody come in, and it's a localized place, which is a great service that we do provide, as well as your local one-stop centers. In New Jersey, there are 21 one-stop centers. Ocean County is the only one that is slightly different, where we have employment services and our office, which does the training and the job search to help the people that just got their new credential. So we're a little bit different, but Ocean County is different, and we like being different. So these are when you have a job posting, these are the 4 biggest red flags that you're going to come up with. Your tone and tenor, creative job titles, role requirements, and include what you're looking for. These are all things that we've all, struggled with, and that makes it harder to actually, write the job description. With tone and tenor, you want to keep your tone friendly. Now, I know, and this is personal experience, when I read an email, it can sound very monotone. It can also sound angry. You can't get that warm feeling, like you don't want just a business demeanor. A great way to help with that is with Grammarly, which you can adjust your tone and tenor to make it sound more appeasing. You can also use AI, Chat GPT, to help write it up a little bit to make it sound more friendly, a little warmer. You also want it easy to read. And what do I mean by that? According to the Literacy Project, most Americans read on a 7th and 8th grade level. So you don't want to have words that are too hard for people to understand. You don't want that descriptor to be too hard. You want it to be simple. One of my favorite sayings is KISS. Keep it simple, Sam. Lowest common denominator. Keep it very easy. You want to avoid the fluff. You're not writing a novel. It might feel like you're writing a novel, but you're not. So you don't have to put 50 descriptive words in, which leads right into cut down unnecessary descriptions. You don't need your descriptions to be five lines long. Short, sweet, simple. The shorter, the sweeter, the simpler, the more people you have that are actually going to read the job description. Keeping your post short and use a readable structure. You want to be able to have your job description. In today's job market, you have people who have short attention spans, who are in desperate need of finding a job, and yet they are reading a million things and they're like, well, I don't think that's good for me. That might be good for me. Keep it simple, make it easy to read, because you can lose a lot of potential candidates if it's not short, simple, and easy to read. Creative job titles. Now, this is something that some people thought would be real cute, and it backfires. You don't want to have an obscure job title. What I mean by that is you are trying to hire a administrative assistant, but you're calling her or him a greeter. Two different ideas. You want to use the actual job title, and you can use the creative job title in the office, using the actual job title. If I say I'm looking for an administrative assistant, most people know what administrative assistant is. So your description is going to be shorter and a lot easier. And this is going to sound crazy. Be transparent. You're looking for an administrative assistant, say you're looking for an administrative assistant. I know it sounds like I'm just repeating it, but those are where some companies are having a hard time. Even a member of the chamber, I won't say who, he's looking for drivers, but he's actually looking for technicians. That's a very different job. So that's something to keep in mind when you're trying to be a little cutesy. Role requirements. Now, this is where that job description can get very long, but this is also where you can find the right candidate. With skills, you want the acquired and learned skills. So if the administrative assistant needs to be able to type 50 words a minute, which I'm not sure what it is, put it in there. You want to have good computer skills, Microsoft Office, any other skills that pertain to your office. Put it in the job description. And also be willing to teach them. If it's a skill that, unless you're in that industry, they might not know how to use it. When I started here, we have a program looking up database of people who are clients I've never touched before, and they taught me how to use it. So there's programs, but see if maybe somebody who's used that type of program, it's not going to be a end of the world. Competence, that's your communication. How can they communicate? Are they communicating in a way that is clear and precise? Or are they like me sometimes where I just ramble on my words, trying to get through stuff? You want to make sure their communication skills are good. Then you have your preferred and must-haves. Your prefers are kind of like, yeah, if they have it, great. If they don't have it, you know, it's not going to be the end of the world. Your must-haves, you want those clear. If the job needs a bachelor's degree, or if you need 10 years experience, say that. Don't be like, well, you didn't have the bachelor's degree, even though we had it preferred, we really wanted it. Say what you want. Don't be kind of just trying to throw a huge net out, because now you're getting potential employees getting upset and never wanting to work for you again. And this is the big one that most people don't understand, is protecting the company from lawsuits. In the job description, because when it goes to HR, if there's ever an injury, or somebody says, oh, well, it was never stated what I have to do. You want to use like occasionally. That's about a third of the time you're going to be doing this. Frequent, about half, a little bit more. And continuous is pretty much the whole time. And those terms should be used when doing the following activities: sitting, standing, walking, lifting, carrying, reaching, pushing, pulling. Because if somebody cannot lift a lot, because they're on medical, or they're waiting for the doctor to get surgery, but they need light duty, that's the way that you can also protect the company. Because when you write this, if you say, oh, they must be able to lift 50 pounds, one of your employees gets hurt, and they say it's never in that job description. So that's where you have to protect the company. And when it comes to lifting, because that seems to be the one where you have the most potential for injuries, you want to know, like, what's the max you're going to be lifting unassisted, so that they can say, are you able to lift 50 to 75 pounds? That's the consistent weight. So just a way to protect yourself. Now, include what you're looking for. These 5 things I've kind of brushed over earlier, but to get into a little more nuanced here. With your position summary, you want that to be about 3 to 5 sentences to give a general sense of the job requirements. Also, salary. What's the salary going to be? Based, it doesn't have to be the exact salary, but give the range to say it's going to be between $15 and $25, depending on experience. So that's a way that you might be able to get somebody in who doesn't have the experience, but maybe has everything else, but they know what they're looking for. According to Glassdoor, 67% of their people that look for jobs want to know how much the job pays. If they don't see that, they're going right past it. Benefits of the role. The benefits are the perks: health insurance, 401k, paid time off, personal days, vacation days, holidays, so that people know, what they're getting into, and how it's going to benefit them. If they know they're going to have holidays, federal holidays, you might have to work 1 or 2 of them because the industry's very popular. I worked in the car business prior to this. We worked Memorial Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day. So you work some of the holidays, and you know that. But that's never always written out, but it needs to be written out. Job description, the bullet points, 4 to 5, quick, easy, but these are the primary job titles, the primary duties that they're going to do. So this way, you don't have to put every single responsibility. You want to pick 4 or 5 that are the most important to make sure that they have those skills that are going to match. Because if somebody doesn't have all of them, why are you going to waste your time on a potential employee that you have to retrain later? So these are ways to try to help with that. Qualifications. This is your education, your experience, your soft skills, your learned skills. This is where you want that to be written out, just a little bit more clearly. Like you want them to have a bachelor's of marketing or a bachelor's in general. In my opinion and some others, if I'm working for a marketing company, yeah, I want to have a marketing bachelor's degree. I don't want them to have a bachelor's of marine biology. It doesn't match. So put what you actually want these qualifications. Then we're going to one that's kind of new, but is very important in today's day and age. A point of contact. You want to have somebody who's going to field phone calls for all the potential candidates coming in to talk with you. Or just say, hey, I sent in my resume. This way who is going to be who's really wants the job and those who are just spraying and praying their resumes. These are the ones that are going to be the most, that are going to be on the top of your list. Even though LinkedIn, Indeed, all those others say, oh no, these are the people you want. You may want to look at these people that didn't get through because they might have other qualifications like the eagerness, like the old school mentality of how to apply for jobs. Now, cover letters. There's 3 things that are extremely hard for anybody to write. Your first is the resume, the second is the cover letter, and the third is the topic of today, job descriptions. Some people say you want to get a cover letter. That's not a bad idea, but what do you want it to say? Use this as a piece of homework for the candidate. And what I mean by that is you can throw them out a question that is going to potentially eliminate some of the interview questions. This way you kind of get to know who they are, and that's what these topics are. Question or purpose of mind, target to get to know person and career focus. Does the person you look at their resume to call and say, hi, I'm interested, but their 5-year plan is to be working at Google in 5 years. Is that something that you want to go and do in the future? Do you want to waste the time? These are things that you're going to get to know prior to sitting down and interviewing them. Now, doing research for this, I literally just got done fine-tuning this probably an hour prior to this event. But there was an article that I read which makes this whole thing a little more important. And this is from a LinkedIn article from this month. Labor market continues to lose steam, but no sign of a recession yet. So, there's a million people that are looking for jobs. Where the jobs at? So the job market's losing steam. 18% increase in job seeker search intensified. These are the people that have been unemployed for more than 3 to 4 months. These are the ones that are really starting to look, and they know they need something because they need work. So they're starting to ratchet up. And that's going to potentially jump next month also, they're predicting. The one thing that's kind of throwing this whole thing off also is the hiring rate from companies is declining. Year over year for this year, hiring rate has declined by 24%. So that means almost 25% of jobs that were out there, they're taken away. Because they're like, oh, well, there's a little bit of uncertainty. Those uncertainties are Russia, the election, all just the turmoil, gas prices shooting up to almost $4 a gallon again. So there's a lot of nerves on the employer. And hiring has declined across all industries. 19 out of 20 that industry sectors are declining. So this is where you need to have those job descriptions where it's going to be, you're getting the right person, you're willing to spend that extra money on these people. And the biggest thing that's really shocking is, according to LinkedIn, their data confirms that confidence among U.S. workers is on the decline. They're scared of whether they're going to have a job within the next 3 to 6 months. So that's some things that are on people's minds. So you can work your job descriptions differently. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. My phone number, my email address. And I just want to say thank you, guys. And do we have any questions?
Okay. Well, Chris, this was very, very helpful, insightful. I'm sure at one point or another, we all need these tips as we hire or we have the need within our companies. So go ahead, Angela, and then I'll go through the chat.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Chris, are you finding any change in attitude? Well, our sweet spot is somebody who's 25 to 30, entry level. We look for sales reps all the time. And, are you seeing any change in attitude among this group that, because they have the Sunday scaries, so they want to show up late on Monday, they want off on Friday, and they want to make sure they have 12 personal days every year. So are you seeing that? Are you seeing guys, I speak the truth. I'm sorry.
It's the truth.
And do you see a change in that attitude among the, let's just say 25 to 35-year-olds?
Believe it or not, I haven't dealt with a lot of the younger population, the 25 to 35. But even the 35 and older, their attitude has changed a little bit. They're wanting 12 personal days. They're wanting $50 an hour versus whatever the job actually is. So that has not changed over the last 3 years, especially with remote work, which remote work is still on the climb, but now more employers want that remote or that hybrid. Right. So those are some of the things that I'm noticing.
Thank you.
I think Jeremy had raised his hand, and then I'll go through the chat. Or did you write it, Jeremy?
I did.
Yep.
I did write it in there, but yeah, I didn't hear what was the rating level that you recommended writing these at?
Seventh and eighth grade.
Okay.
And that's from the literacy project, which I actually thought was a little low, but you know, we see a lot of people that come through that have to go for training who need a ninth grade or higher reading level, and they're coming in at fourth and fifth grade. So that is one thing that is pretty accurate.
I know the AI like ChatGPT is pretty good with that, right? You can just say, write this posting at a seventh or eighth grade level, right?
Yeah, you can really tweak ChatGPT. It's really something, but you want to make sure also that you're rereading what ChatGPT is saying, because it's that is not up to date. It's 3 or 4 years old, so you want to be careful of that.
I wanted to add also that, Chris and I, in preparation for the presentation today, we talked about, clear communication is key in every aspect, in every reading level, but also when an employer posts, all the acronyms for the different programs or the different credentials, might be lost on someone that's newly out of school or not up to date with that kind of information. So if you're requiring a particular credential, that you spell it out, and very often there's an updated version of it if that's important to you, or if the original certification's appropriate, then you just want to make sure that that's understood.
Thanks, Sylvia. That's very good. Going up, this is from Monique. Chris, in your experience, do franchises usually supply all job descriptions for all positions? As we know, they're in the process of opening one, and I haven't gotten to the hiring phase yet. What is your recommendation, or what is, if you know the answer?
That I don't know, but usually it's from the HR department. That's where most of these job descriptions are going to come from. If you're talking like PF Chans, just as an example, because I'm hungry, so sorry. That's going to come from the corporate office. They're going to say, this is what we want these people to be. So it comes more from the corporate. If we're looking more at the ground level, I didn't find out where you can find a typical job description that maybe you could use for your own uses, just to kind of get, this is what you want, without having to babysit the person for the next 6 months.
Okay. Thank you.
Monique, good. Okay. Lisa, if you get specific with education background, for example, bachelor's of marketing, but the candidate doesn't have the exact match as an education background and has relevant work experience, will the hiring manager see that resume, or will AI filter that resume out?
AI will filter that out. And that's where...
That's not good.
It's not. It really isn't. But that's where you got to have that point of contact.
Yeah.
Because that person, if they want to work for Lisa at On Your Mark Designs, but you require a bachelor's degree, but yet they have 15 years experience and only an associate's. I would rather take them over somebody that's got just their bachelor's degree. Mm-hmm. That's just me, and I'm sure that's a lot of people on this call.
Yeah.
Another thing to consider there, I'm just thinking about as a manager in the position of hiring individuals. I remember being concerned about their longevity, like, oh, this person is really skilled, but they're going to be gone in a minute. Do I want to invest my time in hiring someone? I learned from experience that I would rather have someone who's great at their job for a year versus someone who's not, and have them around and I wish they were gone. So It just depends on the candidates that you are interviewing. So, you got to know what you're looking for and whether it's worth taking a chance on someone that you think fits all of the boxes. It's kind of like this. There are some folks that you can tell from the initial communication whether they're going to have the skills initially, but also the ability to learn from what you're going to share with them. So on the job training is always a great way. You might want to put some parameters to yourself. I'm willing to give this 90 days. And in that time, I want to make sure that they could master 1, 2, and 3, and then be clear with them. We're looking at, your ability to learn the business and, agree upon a time frame so that they will jump in feet first.
And that's where the cover letter is going to help also, in that, yes, you're giving them homework to maybe eliminate some of those interview questions, but you're going to know from that how determined that person is. They called, they say, oh, yes, we got your resume, but we also require a cover letter. Here's what we need you to do. You're going to know then you're going to really know, is that person right for you? Maybe doesn't have all the qualifications. Maybe an OJT will help that. But that's going to be a way of weeding down to that perfect person. Or, there's no perfect person, but a person that's going to be hopefully dependable for the next 6 months, year, whatever the project or what you're looking for.
I have a question.
Yeah.
To get good candidates, what do you think is one of the best outlets? Like we are going to be hiring. Do we do LinkedIn? Like, what do you think of LinkedIn? What do you think of just kind of?
I would personally, and this is because I've heard, stay away from Indeed. Indeed, from what I've heard from people, is absolutely the worst job search engine out there.
Interesting.
I prefer LinkedIn. And the reason for that is LinkedIn is such a networking app that it's going to be able to share. You're going to see that, oh, Chris knows Denise, who also knows Marina. Okay, they know people that work for the company. Maybe that's the right, maybe I can ask them, hey, how is Denise? Is she, how does she work? That's the way. Glassdoor, I've heard mixed. Monster, God, there's so many of them that's out there that's hard to tell. Now, one thing also we do for people is we do job order forms. So we can actually use our database and see, if there's somebody that meets your requirements, and send out a mass email to everybody in Ocean County that has those requirements. So it's a way of, these people were on unemployment, maybe they have a job or maybe just lost their job. Hey, this could be the perfect person. So there's multiple ways. LinkedIn, yes. Indeed, no.
Hey, Chris, can I jump in for a sec, if I may? Just from personal experience in the past, I would say like the Zip recruiters of the world just didn't do anything. You got just those, as you mentioned earlier, they just hit the apply button on everything that comes across. Waste your time. I agree. Indeed, lately has not produced. They produced a big bill for me, but they didn't produce any. Sylvia's like, yeah. But they didn't really produce any real candidates. I was so disappointed. Then we ended up hiring a consultant to help us through the process, and he gave us a little advice. We joined local Facebook pages, like township Facebook pages, and did just a really, hey guys, I'm a local business. I'm looking for such, of somebody. Man, we got like 4 or 5 resumes like that. Then it dawned on me, something you said, Chris. we have an email list of 2,500 people, businesses, right? Businesses that either we deal with or have dealt with or want to deal with. So we just sent a huge email blast out saying, we have these job opportunities. Within minutes of that hitting everyone's inbox, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, holy smokes, it's always been here. And so I love your idea of like making use of your list and, you know, working through that. So just a couple of things that have worked for us over the past 2 weeks. And it seems that a lot of it's not as bad as it used. People are ready to start looking to work again. We're still filtering through everybody wants a job, nobody wants to work. So, you know, when I promoted a full-time job and the person this morning said, is this Monday through Friday? And I said to him, we're not looking for someone with the Sunday scaries or Fridays off. I mean, that's just not what we're doing.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, because that's where most of the 25-year-olds are, right? They want to come in late Monday and take off Friday. So those things seem to be working, and we're getting some good candidates now. And we advertise with, you know, we put the listing on all the chamber websites, and that helps. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else has some experience they could share, because we need about 3 people right now. So,
well, Angelo, if you want, if you have my email, shoot me an email. Let me send you a job order form, so we can then see what we have in the state's website.
Okay.
You know, they might be willing to go from there. Now, it is taking a little bit of time for the state to put people in, so you may not hear from me for a week. It's the state being very slow.
That's all right. Yeah, I'll take any help. I really will. We're going to like 3 different job fairs in the coming weeks just to be present and see if we can get one lead out of it. But we need people, and you know, I keep hearing about, you know, we need to create jobs. There's plenty of jobs. We need to create people who want to work. We don't need more jobs.
That is the delicate balance that nobody knows how to walk that line, because there's unemployment. If you look at the unemployment numbers, they're low. However, unemployment after 6 months, you get kicked off. So those numbers are very deflated. If you really look at the unemployment numbers, truthfully, if the people that still don't have work, you're probably at 6%, if not higher. Where I think last I checked, we're at 3.5 or 3.6. So there's a big discrepancy.
Yeah, it's a tough market to figure out because there's jobs galore.
I have a story that I have a woman who spent $700 on resumes, on 2 resumes. She has applied to over 300 jobs. She has not heard back from anybody, or very few responses. That's where, you know, and these are professionally done resumes. They look beautiful. But why are they not getting through the AI?
Did she call? You know, a lot of people just send out resumes. They don't call.
That's the thing. Nobody's putting the contact information. You know, they're
you got to do your homework. That's up to the seeker to go, and if they want to work for a company in a specific area of that company, they need to go seek that hiring manager out.
True, but always there's that gatekeeper at the front desk who's not going to give it up because they don't want to. And that's the problem. You need to have that point of contact that's
strongly disagree. And respectfully.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
And here's why. With Google and LinkedIn, you can find anything and anybody. It's all out there. It's all out there. There's no excuse for that. I don't know. I won't get out my soapbox. That drives me nuts.
Chris, I have another question from Lisa here.
Sure.
Can you legally apply a trial period to a candidate in a position and be able to let them go if they aren't performing as expected? Or is that opening up a liability?
Oh, that's a good one.
I am not 100% sure on that, Lisa. I believe we are I believe in, I'm not sure, we're an at-will state.
Yeah, we are.
So we are.
Yeah.
So that means if after 3 months the probation's over, they're not meeting you're at will to let them go for cause because they have not met their job requirements. Not one goal has met. There's no improvement from day one. You can let them go after 90 days.
And I know Diana had made a suggestion. In my experience, we have brought in potential candidates and had them job shadow for the day and meet with the team. It can help in the hiring process. A series of interviews will show their dedication. It's important to see if the person is a good culture fit as well.
Yeah, culture right now is the biggest thing that's that's out there, because you want somebody that's going to fit in, that's not going to be, I hate the word, but it's so true, toxic, where they're going to destroy everything that you've spent all your time and effort building, and they're going to bring it down because they're just not a happy person. They don't fit the culture of the company. Not everybody's got to be singing kumbaya, but at least have enough commonality where they're not going to be at each other's throats.
Yeah. And Chris, do you suggest always when interviewing, it's in person, or it could be a phone?
I would say best is to have in person, because reading somebody is the biggest thing. If you can read somebody within the first 5 minutes of the interview, you know what you have. The phone call first is not a bad idea, just to kind of get to hear some things. I was, like I said, a car salesman. The first 5 minutes, I knew if I was going to have
sale or not.
Well, not even a sale, but I knew what the person was going to be. Are they going to be easy to deal with? Are they going to be hard to deal with? If they're going to be hard to deal with, okay, now I got to turn on the charm. I got to be a little more charismatic, but that's the first 5 minutes. Even on a phone call, I still have that ability to say, yes, they're going to be very good, or, and that's where I try to help people fit with that culture to the company.
Anybody else? Thank you. Thanks, Chris. Anybody else? No problem. And just remember, this is recorded. It is recorded today, and we will put it on our YouTube channel. So anytime you could go after, once it's downloaded and Denise adds it on, you can always go and listen back and any questions. But always, I do have Chris's and Sylvia's email addresses, contact information. Feel free to reach out to us. Thank Chris. This was very, very helpful. Thank you so much. And Sylvia, I know you guys put a lot of time to make the presentation, so we really appreciate it. And to everybody that came on today. If anybody, if we're all good and there's no other questions or any comments, we have 5 more minutes, or 10. You're good to go. All good? Chris, do you mind staying on for a couple of seconds?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.